Hi, I'm Graham Standish, and I'm back for our last installment of talking about compassion. As you know, I'm the Executive Director of Samaritan Counseling, Guidance, and Consulting. And over the course of the month of January, we have been talking with you about compassion. We've talked about how compassion is suffering with another. We've talked about how to have compassion in an age of anxiety. And we've also talked about how true compassion has boundaries. For the last talk, I want to talk to you about how to have compassion in an age of animosity. Because here's the reality. We live in an age of animosity. We live in an age where people are angry with each other all the time. All the time. And yet, the way out of it is not to get angry and to try to win, but to be compassionate. That's the lesson the Good Samaritan taught, and it's why we at Samaritan here ground ourselves in the spirit of that story. So how do you live with compassion in an age of animosity? Well, it first comes by realizing that people who live in an age of animosity often live in their instincts, often live in their anger, often live in their frustration that the world is not the way they want it to be. But people who are compassionate don't live out of their instincts and anger. They live out of their heart. Out of that place where they develop the courage to say, I recognize the world is angry, but I'm not going to be angry. I'm going to live in compassion. I'm going to live in healing. I'm going to live in making life better for others. Even if we have been hurt in our lives and we have a reservoir of anger, part of the answer is to respond with a sense of compassion and forgiveness and grace and mercy, because that brings back to us grace and mercy and a sense of peace. A large part of living the compassionate life is not to follow the way everybody else is going. It's not to be angry sheep bleating at the world's injustices, even though we recognize it's there and we need to do something about it. But it's to respond by saying, I recognize that there's anger out there and I can begin to heal it by being compassionate, by living in love, by living in mercy, by living in forgiveness, of finding a way to make the world better. And once again, I'll just remind you that at Samaritan, we are a place primarily of compassion. And you don't have to walk alone. We have people here who can help you develop a more compassionate life. I'll see you in February when we continue our series on living a fruitful life.